Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Raw Versatility, hosted by me, Catherine. No longer withholding my voice and vulnerability, you're invited this time. I'm super excited that you're here to dive into a really vulnerable topic to start off the new year. Happy New Year. I hope your 2023 brings you all that you want and deserve. May it be a great year, one of growth and learning. That's something that I'm really looking forward to this year, especially because 2022 was just so rough that it has definitely made me swallow some really hard truths. 2022 definitely set me up for that. And as I was reflecting on the previous year, I knew that it was going to take a lot of reframing in order for me to not completely trigger myself during my processing, but also to just reframe how I saw the experience. A journaling activity that I did that I would definitely recommend that you do. You could even choose like a more previous date if you want to process some things from the past and allow yourself to see it differently, or just reframe it in a way that it could somewhat serve you instead of just being a horrible experience that you don't want to think about. Have a piece of paper, or you can even do this on your phone, I guess, if you want. But on one side, I labeled it pains. The other side, I labeled it gains. Originally, I was going to title this losses and gains because that's ultimately like what I'm going to be doing, is reframing these losses due to the fact that there was something to gain from it, or a way that I grew from the experience. I didn't want to consider it a loss because, in my eyes, it's not a loss. If I was able to, even if it was a horrible experience, if I experienced it and was able to learn from it and take something away, I'm not considering it a loss. But I'm not gonna deny the fact that I felt a lot of pain and that it hurt and it was a sucky experience. Like, that's all very true. That deserves to be validated. So I labeled the left side pains instead of losses. I was reflecting on 2022 and kind of just going in chronological order because I never took the time to really think about how different experiences could have affected each other, or how their chronological order like could have had an impact. I really just took this opportunity to reflect on 2022 collectively and also individually through these different experiences. For example, the left hand side, in the beginning of January, I was experiencing a lot of pain because I was in a place where I shouldn't have been. I stayed much longer than I intended to, and it ultimately cost me a lot of emotional and damages in other areas. And so it's not a loss because I did gain from it, but I labeled the pain as heartbreak. On the right hand side, because now I want to reframe this experience, on the gain side, I put like what I took away from the experience. I listed those on the right hand side. I realized like, wow, like now looking back, that experience to me, like it felt so horrible. I felt like the world was ending. I was really, really down bad. And now that I'm reflecting on it and processing it, I realized like, damn, like this is actually amazing because look at everything I got from it. Like, wow. And it just helped me like really reframe things. I was even really trying to reflect upon 2022 as a whole because I was just dreading it. I was thinking about like all the pain I could have possibly re-triggered in myself. And I'm so happy that I did do this activity. Now, looking back, I'm not as triggered when I think about it because I see it differently. I see the pain and I validate that and the whole experience. Now I see it as like an experience, like as what it is. I'm not over here making it significantly worse than it is. I did this for the different experiences that I had during 2022. This activity just gave me so much peace after I did it. Like, it was a little triggering as I was thinking about, like, yo, what happened to me? Like just making a list on the pain side about like all these different things that affected me and that I felt like hurt me. That was triggering as I was like remembering, recalling, forgetting things, remembering things. Like, it was just a rough experience. But once I started working on the gain side and writing like all these beautiful things that came out of nothing and came out of hurt, it just brought me so much peace. I hope it does for you if you decide to do this activity. In fact, please let me know. When I reflect and I think about the experiences I had, I challenge myself to recognize different patterns, different cycles, different behaviors that I was allowing to continue, which is why lessons in my life kept repeating. I truthfully believe that we have different missions, different things to accomplish when we're here on earth. We are all very different and unique beings, yet all the same with love at our core. But we're all very different, different passions, different qualities. That is very intentful, because if we all knew everything, could do everything, had all the resources, community would not serve as large of a function as it does. But because everyone is so different and we could help each other in different areas and we have different strengths, that is beautiful. Everybody's here to do something different and have different experiences. What I do believe is that we will continue to repeat things until we learn from them, until we do different, because you are intended to learn that for whatever reason, all in divine timing. Framing our experiences and taking away, just looking at them on a deeper level and deciding what it is that we are meant to take away from that experience, that might be the key to unlock you to a different level, to get you somewhere else where you're not stuck in these same patterns, going through the same lessons, repeating the same mistakes. Like, I truly don't believe that we're meant to be in that cycle, even though there is a lot of conditioning that keeps us this way. I really believe that we are meant to have experiences, look at them, learn from them, do differently in order to unlock a different path. And that is very, very healing, especially when we're moving away from toxic patterns, different bad behaviors, limiting beliefs, things that were never ours to begin with and that don't belong to you. You can let them go. However, it does take self-awareness to do so. Upon my reflection of the previous year and trying to recognize those patterns and the different pains that I had a very hard truth that I had to swallow, and that I praise God for my therapist, because she definitely helped me see the light for this one and how I was contributing to repeating the same lessons over and over and over and over, because I wasn't learning from it. I wasn't learning. I love to learn. I claim I love to learn. However, when it comes to learning the hard truths in life, ooh, I got my shades on. I don't be seeing the red flags, or at least I don't. It takes me a little bit longer to process events and extract what it is that I got to take away in order to do differently. For me, it took the support of amazing therapists. Therapy is amazing, guys. Like, if you have not tried it, please do so if it is accessible to you. I'm definitely going to do another episode on therapy. I definitely was able to come to a lot of understanding and realization about myself through therapy. One thing that I had to recognize in the greater scheme of things, when I reflected upon 2022 and the experiences I've had and the similar experiences I've had, because they were just mirrors to things that I neglected at first, I realized that in order to grow, in order to get out of these dark places, especially when I'm struggling with my mental health, I had to take accountability. I had to take responsibility for the role that I play in my own suffering. I'm going to repeat that for the people in the back. And I hope that this is something that doesn't trigger you so much. It definitely did at first because it's vulnerable for me. But once I was able to really like reflect on it, I saw the greater good. You have to take responsibility for the role that you play in your own suffering. Listen, I get it. Life could be so hard at times. People could be devious at times. It might feel like, wow, the cards are really stacked against me. It feels like I'm gonna lose. It feels like I don't even want to be here. Like, life could really, really suck at times. And the things that happen to us may be inevitable. They may be to teach us something, but that doesn't change the fact that they're painful. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. It takes a lot of self awareness, a lot of presence, a lot of vulnerability to admit that we are also contributing to our own storms and what that may look like. It's so easy to blame the world, paint the finger. I said paint, point the finger at another person and just blame everything outside of yourself for the things that are happening to you. It's really easy to do that. If we refuse to look inward and recognize the ways that we are contributing, things are going to continue to happen because you're not learning. You're not learning what you can do for yourself in order to do differently, to heal, to get better. Like, it is so essential that we take responsibility for the role that we play in our own suffering so that we can change course of action and do better. Reflecting back on 2022, I definitely recognize the ways that I contributed to my own suffering by self-sabotaging. I claimed that I wanted to prosper, I wanted to win, I wanted to feel good, yet my actions were the complete opposite. And of course, I didn't trust myself. Of course, that didn't reflect in my self love because I said one thing and my actions proved the other. I self sabotage by claiming that I wanted to improve, I wanted to this, I wanted that, and I wanted to get better, but I was keeping myself stuck. I was allowing myself to repeat the same bad, toxic patterns that I had before, such as ignoring red flags or staying in places longer than I should have. Like, those were some pretty tough lessons that I had to take responsibility for and recognize how me just trying to live in my little fantasy world and not take accountability, that was not serving me at all. I self sabotage so much by just acting out of fear, living in fear, not believing in myself, just doing things to basically like set me back. And so here I am in therapy complaining, why don't I love myself? Why am I doing this? And behind the scenes, when I'm meant to be working on myself, I'm talking badly about myself. I'm beating myself up because I wasn't as productive as I was or as I wanted to be. Like, I was just doing these things that were so contrary to the self-love that I wanted to embark. I had to take accountability for that and realize, like, wow, like, I'm in my own way. Like, I am my greatest enemy. Why am I hurting myself the way that I am? I reflected upon all that in therapy. It was definitely a hard journey and just a lot of hard truths that I had to learn to swallow, but they have served me so well because now I am moving different. I do recognize when I'm getting in bad patterns, such as not taking care of myself. When I'm struggling mentally, what I do, and I'm not saying this is good at all, I'm just letting you know like what I do. I isolate. I basically try to gain all of my energy back and pour back into myself so I could build myself up. When I'm down bad, like, my executive functioning is out the door. I can't even operate to feed myself 3 times a day. Like, it doesn't occur to me. I fall behind academically. My relationships go to waste because I stop investing in them because it takes me so much energy and so much time to build myself back up. That's why self-awareness is important, so that we could recognize when we're getting in these bad habits that are literally alerting our brain like something's going wrong. We're going through a really hard time. Like, what could we do to actually better ourselves instead of sitting and dwelling in the suffering? Suffering is bound to happen, unfortunately. Life could be really, really hard. However, once you process that, feel those emotions, you do not have to dwell in it more than it needs to. Previously, I struggled with determining like when to let an experience go, and I would let that experience hurt me for longer and deeper that it should have. And now I'm working on that because I don't want to suffer more than I should. Like, I want to have the experiences I had, feel what I'm meant to feel, and then move on, even if that means a course of action, which definitely takes time to implement because we're humans. Humans hate change. We're very used to being comfortable, being in our safe space, being in our comfort zone, even if that means remaining in behaviors and habits that are bad to us. Very unfortunate, but with time, practice, support, we have the power to essentially break out of that and choose a different conditioning. Another way that I self-sabotaged was by not asking for help. I am a very self-aware person. I recognize like when I'm starting to like get worse in my mental health. Like, I call this like the downward spiral, like where you might feel fine, but then like things start to happen, feelings starting to intense, and it just seems like wow, like now I'm going on into a downward spiral, and it's gonna take extra effort for me to get back up into a default. One way that I self sabotaged was by not asking for help. I was aware that I was down bad, but I didn't want to ask for help. This is so ironic because the number one advice I tell other people is like, ask for help, do it. Like, it's not weak. Like, it's so beneficial to you. You will gain so much by asking for help. And we really need to put our stigma and our own personal insecurities aside and just ask for that help, get that help. It will serve you. However, when I am struggling, like, that is something I struggle to do. I'm aware of it because of my past experiences. I really need to challenge myself in 2023 to admit when I do need extra assistance and support. That's something that I've gotten better at throughout my entire college career, but I'm still working on, and I feel like I could do better. It should not take me as long as it did for me to reach out and let somebody know, like, I'm not doing as well as I should. Like, can you please help me? Can you please see me? Can you please just hold space? In 2022, I definitely had to learn to take people for who they show me to be, not for who they claim they are. And this is something that was really, really hard for me to learn. In fact, I remember like my therapist like really trying to get this through my mind. And I was just like, no, like they tell me they're an amazing person. I want to believe that. They tell me they're loyal. I want to believe that. And this goes for like all relationships, like not even just romantic. I just love to have high expectations of people because I have high expectations and standards in myself, and I know how I navigate in relationships with other people, and I expect people to do the same thing. We cannot expect people to have the same heart as us because they don't. They don't. If you know that you have a pure, beautiful heart and you know how you love others deeply and how you would do anything for them and how you would ride and all this stuff, like, it's best to just avoid the disappointment by expecting people to move that same way. For real. I did not want to do that. If somebody tells me this is who they are, like, I'm gonna believe them because when I speak about myself, like, that's my truth, and I expect other people to operate by their truth, but that's not the truth. Everyone does not move that way. You need to get in the habit. I'm speaking to myself right now. I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to whoever needs to hear it. You need to get in the habit of believing people's actions over their words, because words are beautiful. I love words. I love words. Even my sorority philanthropy is literacy. I study speech and language. Like, I love words and communication. Like, I love it so much. But my love for this has definitely given people more leverage than needed, because I just automatically wanted to believe people's words over their actions. People's actions would contradict their words. I didn't think anything of it. That's also how I let so many red flags slide, by not giving actions the weight that they deserved. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell me right now, if someone's words contradict their actions, believe their actions. Believe their actions, please. It will just save you from so much disappointment and heartbreak. We really need to give actions more weight than words. That hurts me to say because I love words. I'm a words of affirmation girly myself. But unfortunately, in this world where people operate by cognitive dissonance and just different behaviors, like, we need to really give weight to those actions and what they show us. Believe people for who they show you to be, not who they say they are, not who they claim they are. 2022 definitely gave me multiple experiences to make me learn all these things that I've been reflecting on. Like I said, we keep repeating lessons until we learn from them. Now that I'm reflecting on it and I'm able to see like what I took away from these experiences, I definitely hope that I'm able to incorporate them and choose differently moving forward, so that I'm not repeating the same cycles. We don't got space for that. In 2023, we are following our hearts relentlessly and doing things that make us feel good. If we're just repeating bad cycles and bad experiences, that is going to get in the way of that. Follow and DM us on the Instagram at Raw Versatility. Let me know, what were some of your pains and what were some of your gains. I hope that 2023 brings you the things that will give you more of those gains, whatever that looks like and feels like to you. I'm so happy that you listened to this episode, and I encourage you to catch us on the next one.